Welcome to Focus Today. Always a delight to have Nisha Jackson in the house. She heads up Ventana Wellness, and when she's around, the phones ring. People get real healthy like that. And today we're going to flush the liver.
Yes.
Really?
We are.
How important is this?
You know, I think it's interesting that you said at the break, or going to the break, carrot juice and apples. Yeah. I think you said carrot juice and apples or something like that. Lemonade, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Those are two great things for the liver. So we're going to come back to that because you must have known. You must have known what to say.
Well, no, I have been dealing with friends who have cancer.
Yes.
And I realize how important liver is. The
liver is so important. It's probably the most important organ, and I thought about, you know, what I should talk to everyone about today. And I thought spring cleaning the liver really is it should be the subject we should talk about frequently.
Really?
Because it's probably the most overburdened organ that we have.
Really?
It really has a huge job to do, and about 20% of all of our blood at any given time is directed towards the liver. It's a lot of our blood, right?
Right.
So many functions take place in the liver, and anytime that I see somebody in the office where I see their hormones are not quite right, it always comes back to hormones, right?
Hormones and water.
Yeah, hormones, water, and food. So whenever I see something not right, somebody's gaining fat too rapidly, their cholesterol's going up, they have a lot of body pain, they're feeling very tired, they can't lose weight or they can't lose body fat, I always think liver. Because liver is one of the organs that helps detoxify all of the toxins we come in contact with every day.
Yeah.
And that's a lot if you think about it. The fumes that we inhale, especially diesel fumes, the foods that we eat, if there's any additives in the foods, artificial colorings, artificial ingredients, all of those things have to be detoxified by the liver. Not to mention if we overeat at any given time, even eating a heavy meal is somewhat of a burden on the liver. The other thing that is a burden on the liver is eating late at night. Many people eat right up until bedtime, and the problem is that our whole intestinal tract needs time to digest all of the food, and our liver needs time to sort of metabolize and excrete all the toxins from the food that we've eaten, and also to use all the vitamins and minerals from the foods that we've eaten. And if we eat right up until bedtime, the problem is all of the functions during our sleep that help rejuvenate our system and get us ready for the next day's stressors can't really be done because our digestive tract is still working. So a lot of the energy goes towards our digestion and our liver function.
That produces a good question. So how long would you like to see between dinner and going to bed?
3 hours. If you can stop eating 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed, it would give your liver and your digestive tract time to do its work and not go into the middle of the night to have to do its work, because then you're not performing all of the restorative functions that you need while you're sleeping. And so many people don't think about that. They just kind of snack right up until bedtime. It's kind of maybe it's a stress reliever, or possibly it's a boredom thing that we do where we're just almost unconsciously eating up until bedtime. But it's not good for our next day's energy because we really haven't restored our functions during sleep like we should. So that's one of the things I think is real important with the liver.
Well, by the way, we're going to open up the phone lines in the next segment, so you can talk to Nisha if you want to do that. So jot the number down, 7765368. All right, so how do we go about cleaning the liver?
Yes, well, one of the most simple things that you can do is every morning start out with at least 4 to 6 ounces of warm water with a whole lemon squeezed in it. So it's funny that you said lemonade, but you shouldn't sweeten it. So we can't quite have the lemonade, but we can have lemon water. First thing in the morning. That's really one of the easiest things that you can do to get your liver back on track. It's a wonderful liver detoxifier, lemon is. You can also use lime if you don't like lemon. Anything that's astringent or sour is very good for the liver. So starting your day out with lemon water, warm lemon water is a wonderful thing to do.
I'm jotting this down.
Now, chlorophyll that we actually get from dark green vegetables is actually very good too. So adding more green leafy vegetables to our diet, as many as possible. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts are excellent for the liver. You don't like Brussels sprouts?
No.
I actually really like Brussels sprouts. I'm not really sure why. I didn't growing up, but I've learned to like them.
I guess it has how you prepare them.
Yes.
But if you prepare them the way that I would eat them, it would be totally in violation of what you're talking about.
Okay, breaded and deep fried is not a good idea.
Okay.
Carrots, anything colorful is excellent for the liver. The liver has 500 functions. 500 functions. Think about that. One organ has 500 functions in the body.
Wow.
So it requires a lot of vitamins and minerals in optimal levels in order to function the way that it should. So even if we have nutrient or vitamin deficiencies, our liver's not going to work very well. So one of the simple things that you can do is really get more vitamin and minerals into your diet. You can do that through your food or adding more supplementation to your daily regime. So
let me ask you this. Now, we're going to flush the liver, but if we're not augmenting that with a good diet during this time, are we just offsetting things?
Yes. So you do need to clean up your diet, and that's something that works for every organ in the body, whether we're talking about the brain balance or we're talking about the gut balance. Cleaning up your diet is essential, and so many people are eating on the run and not really very conscious about what they're eating. And it honestly, Perry, it always comes back to the exact same thing, and that is foods from the ground, foods that walk around, foods from the sea, nuts and seeds. It's just the same story. It's whole foods.
Okay.
It's foods the way we were meant to eat and not a bunch of packaged foods, because it's really burdening the liver, and people are getting what we call fatty liver. And fatty liver is when your liver becomes very sluggish and it doesn't perform the functions of detoxification that it should. So just imagine this visual here. So you're eating foods that are very, that are not whole foods. They're packaged, they're processed, they have additives, they have preservatives. And so the liver over time, and this does not get better as we age, it gets worse, right? So as we age and our hormones begin to change and our liver becomes more sluggish, what happens is that we get an excessive buildup of hormones in our body that we don't need. So we get, men and women both get we call them xenohormones. They're the type of estrogen in our body that's not good for us. Oh. And it's excessive buildup from the plastics and other toxins pesticides and herbicides that we come in contact with. And we get this excessive buildup, and then it's stored in our fat cells. But it's the liver's job to try to detoxify all of those toxins. And if it doesn't do it, the toxins find a place in your body to be stored. Well, our fat cells are a good place for all of these toxins to be stored. So imagine after a while the circulation of all of these toxins in our body. And honestly, Perry, it's no wonder why people don't become sick. I mean, it shouldn't be a wonder, right? People become sick, people develop cancer or other type of autoimmune illnesses like arthritis, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia. And that really is a function of our system being sick. And you might think, well, I'm exercising regularly, I'm eating 3 meals a day. But if you're not taking care of your liver and you're really not cleaning up your diet, eventually it's just going to happen that you're storing too many toxins in your body.
How do we know we need a liver cleansing? What are the signs of this problem?
Well, they say that one of the signs is chronic pain, fatigue, too much fat around the middle part of your body, which most Americans have today. They can pinch more than 2 inches of fat around the middle part of their body. So
I'm pinching.
We don't need a visual here. So if you can pinch too much fat around the middle part of your body, or if your liver enzymes are starting to escalate on your blood panel, or your cholesterol's going up, because that is one of the functions of the liver, is to manage the cholesterol. The other interesting thing that the liver does that I'm just now really tuning into with my patients is vitamin D, because it is the liver's job, along with our skin, to help absorb and manufacture vitamin D. So we're starting to see more and more people, even though they're taking vitamin D, they're not really absorbing and being able to metabolize the vitamin D. And that's really a sign that the liver's not working well.
Yeah.
So those are just little tips that we see in the office that maybe somebody's not functioning at the highest level. I would say anyone that doesn't have a clean diet, that's not eating a regular amount of fruits and vegetables, colorful foods, or if they're really eating a lot of packaged foods and preservatives and artificial colorings, that you probably need to go on a little bit of a liver cleanse. And one of the things that you can do is get on a supplement. The one that I use personally and I use in the office is called Liver C. And it's a supplement that has several different herbs in it, like dandelion root and milk thistle, higher doses of vitamin C. And I know you're a big proponent of vitamin C.
Right.
That's one of the most wonderful things for the liver, is about 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day. So these are some of the things that you can start doing to get your liver working well again. But honestly, the diet is probably the biggest thing that you can do, is just cleaning up the diet and giving your liver what it needs.
All right, Nisha's in the house here from Ventana Wellness, and we're going to take your phone calls coming up in the next segment. So if you have any questions along this line, the phone number is 776-5368. How long is a liver cleanse? How long do you do this for?
Well, cleaning up your diet should be a lifelong habit.
Right.
And I always tell people, if, especially my patients and certainly family members, if you can try to eat clean, that would be no packaged foods, no artificial colorings, no preservatives, as organic as possible, 5 days a week. Do whatever you want the other 2 days, because that would be 75% of your week that you're eating clean, and that would be so much better for your liver. So that actually should become a lifelong habit. Now, you could do it every day if you wanted, but some people find it hard to try to be really clean all of the time with their diet, because we do live in America and it's not the cleanest eating place in the world to live, right?
Well.
So eating clean 5 days a week is really helpful. The other thing that I think is a good habit to get into, besides that lemon juice in the morning, the lemon water, is to start having 2 tablespoons of ground up flaxseed a day. Now, what some people do is they actually take the flax seeds and they mix it in with the warm lemon juice, just mix it in. It actually becomes a little bit thickened if you let it sit for a little bit, and I think it's very tasty. But the ground flax seeds actually bind up the excessive hormones in your body and help your body excrete them. So it's also another form of a liver tonic to have the ground up flax seed.
So you get the flax seeds, you put them in your graphic grinder?
Yes, exactly. Grind them up, or you can buy organic ground up flaxseed. You just can't leave it in your refrigerator for more than 1 month.
All right.
So.
We'll be right back. Nisha's with us. If you want to give her a question, 776-5368. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Paulina, and I work at theDove TV. Did you know that when you support theDove TV, you have a profound impact, not only in our community, but around the world? It's your continued support that takes the inspiration and hope in the programs we produce and makes them available to the thousands of people who are watching these videos online every week. Help bring encouragement and hope to our valley and beyond by making a secure online donation today at our website, thedove.us.
All right, Nisha's in the house. You can tell the phones are lit up. And by the way, VentanaWellness.com.
Yes.
Check that out. It's a great, resourceful website. And if you're not familiar with the clinic, go to the website. Get familiar with the clinic. You know Dr. Joel Klein that comes in there? Well, he's part of Ventana. And people line up to talk to him when he comes in. He's a hoot. I don't know where you found him, but he's a character.
I know.
All right, let's go to the
great.
phones and see if we can get some answers here. Hi, Charlie. What's on your mind?
2 things. One, what is the recommended amount of water to have a day? And would she perhaps comment on non-GMO foods?
Yes.
I'll take it off the air.
All right, thanks, Charlie.
Yes, recommended amount of water. You should shoot for about 8 glasses of water a day, 8-ounce glasses of water a day. You know, if you're larger, if you're heavier, you need more than that. If you're lighter than that, you still should be shooting for about 8 glasses of water a day. There's all different formulas on how much water you should have, but for the most part, I would shoot for 8 glasses of water a day. The non-GMO foods is an excellent way to go. Anything that is engineered food, so foods right from your ground. If you can start a garden this summer, right now is the time to do it. Get your own herbs going, get your own vegetables going, and start eating from the ground. Going to the growers market, some of our local growers. Those are the things that we should be doing, because those are the foods that are the highest in the vitamins and nutrients that we need for our liver.
All right. Hi, Paula. You want to know about rosemary tea?
Yes, I stayed with a family from France for a while, and the woman was a healthcare provider, and she told me that just taking a 2 to 3 inch sprig of fresh rosemary and steeping it in boiling water was a liver cleanse, and I actually have grown to really like it, but I've not heard anybody else say that. I was wanting to ask, but you knew.
Rosemary is wonderful for getting your brain to work. So if you, this would be a wonderful thing for your kids to do before they go to school in the morning, is have them smell rosemary. If you have rosemary outside, grab a little twig of it, bring it in, have your kids smell it, because it's wonderful for opening up the brain. So it's really good for memory and concentration. Rosemary has not really been shown to be a liver tonic. More dandelion root, turmeric is another one that's great for the liver tonic as far as the herbs go. So, but rosemary is wonderful for opening up the brain. I'm sure it's not a bad thing for your liver. It's just not really one of the main listed liver tonics.
All right, let's go to, hi, Debbie. What's your question?
Hi, I had two questions. Do chia seeds do the same thing as flax seed? And also, you said no sweetener in the lemon and hot water, but what about stevia?
Yes, a good comment. You can put stevia in, but again, that's just one more thing for the liver to have to detoxify. So if you can do it without, because the whole goal for the liver is to make it as sour as possible. So just having the liver, having the lemon juice alone in warm water would be best. If you have to start out sort of getting used to it, putting a little stevia drops in it, that would be fine. I forget what the other question was.
The chia seeds.
Maybe I need some rosemary.
Oh, no.
The chia...
chia seeds versus flax.
The chia seeds would be fine to substitute for the flax seeds. I think it's a great idea.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right. Hi, Karen. What's going on with... Oh, you want to know about apple cider vinegar?
Yes.
Yeah, the organic, the raw and filtered apple cider vinegar with the mother. Could you use that in place of the vinegar?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up, because that was not on my list of things to talk about this morning, but 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar in warm water a day is also an excellent, excellent liver tonic. So you could have that during the day if you put that in your water. Again, that's one of those things you have to get used to, the taste of it over time and the smell of it over time. But yes, the organic apple cider vinegar is excellent for the liver.
Okay, very good. And can I ask one more question?
Sure,
Yes.
Go ahead, quick.
Okay, I have lupus and fibromyalgia. Now, I do the turmeric and I do the flax and I do eating organic and all that kind of stuff, but none of that seems to be helping the pain. I mean, I have tender points like every square inch on my legs.
Well,
Is there anything else I can be doing?
In relationship to the fibromyalgia and the chronic fatigue, it is imperative that you get your hormone levels checked and balanced. My experience has been over 20 years now of dealing with patients that have chronic pain, that so many times their levels of T3, which is one of the active thyroid hormones in our body, is low.
I have all that done because I don't have a liver, I don't have a thyroid because my autoimmune disorder destroyed that, so I had to have it removed. So
optimizing the T3 level is going to be very important for you.
Yeah, so I have all that checked. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Let me check in quickly. Hi, Shelley. What's going on?
Well, I was listening this morning, but I didn't get the amount of water to mix the lemon juice.
Oh,
what's that?
The amount of water versus lemon juice.
Yes, 1 squeezed whole lemon in warm water every morning.
How much water?
4 to 6 ounces. You can have as much water as you want in the morning, but just mix it up in 4 to 6 ounces is plenty.
All right, there you go. All right, Nisha's with us, Ventana Wellness, and again, that's ventanawellness.com, and it's a great resource, the website as well as our clinic. And we're talking about cleaning your liver. Before we run out of time, we got a few minutes left, but we got 4 to 6 ounces of warm water with a fully squeezed lemon in it.
Yes.
That's where you start. You do that once a day.
Yes. 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed a day, especially if you're having any kind of hormone problems, fatigue, hot flushes, despite being on treatment. This is also good if you're on a lot of medications, which so many people are, Perry. They're on too many medications, and that is the job of the liver to have to absorb, metabolize, and excrete anything that you're not using. So acetaminophen is one of the worst things for the liver, so go easy on the acetaminophen. And also, like I said, if you are on many different medications, think about adding some of these things, 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C, not eating 3 hours before you go to bed so that you can get your liver completely done with its job so that you can heal and restore during your sleep.
And how long are we going to drink this lemon water?
Every day for the rest of your life, till you take your last breath. You'll be 90 squeezing that lemon in the morning. Every day.
Okay, Mabel. Hi, Kathy. What's your
Nisha,
question?
I have serious and difficult chronic pain problems, and I've discovered L-glutamine has been an enormous help. How would that be affecting my liver? I just had to have a lumbar spinal injection yesterday for it, and I've been having to take too much Tylenol because I'm drug intolerant or allergic to everything else, so I'm concerned.
Yes. I would recommend that you do some of the things that we're talking about here, giving your liver support every day, taking a good multivitamin. Alpha-lipoic acid is another supplement that can be excellent for the liver. Turmeric is another supplement that I think that. Okay, good. And then just doing some of the other things that we talked about, I think could be very helpful. Now, there are more aggressive liver cleanses that you may want to think about going on if you're on acetaminophen on a regular basis, which is very, very hard on the liver.
Yeah, but it's the only pain medication that has worked for me.
Absolutely, but I would still say supporting your liver, given the fact that you have to use that, or any type of chronic use of pain medication, which so many people are on today, that you should still support your liver, because your liver will become more and more sluggish with age, and you have to support it because it needs to do its job to keep you healthy.
All right, I'm going to come back to Liver C.
Yes.
Is that a supplement just through your clinic? Or?
Yes. Liver C is a supplement that I've used in my office for many, many years now. It's one of the only supplements that has the right combination of herbs and vitamins in order to support the liver, and I can actually change liver enzymes. If somebody has elevated liver enzymes, I'll put them on this supplement for several months, retest them again, and it will be completely normal. Also, if the hormones are not normal, and despite our efforts in the office to get them balanced, we'll put them on Liver C, and it's amazing how men's estrogen levels go down. Men do not need a lot of estrogen. So bringing
no kidding.
bringing that estrogen down, or if women are out of balance with their hormones, adding Liver C can be very helpful, because what it does is it helps your liver eliminate any excessive estrogen, progesterone, testosterone that you really don't need. Primarily for women, it's estrogen, and men also. Now,
have you ever recommended a full body flush?
Yes.
I know that can be dangerous.
Yes.
And it needs to be monitored.
Right. We do use it's called a whole body cleanse in our office, and it's a 2-week program where it's very clean eating, where we actually take out all the toxins and the artificial ingredients, and then we put them on supplements for 2 weeks, and it works great. So sometimes you do need to do something more aggressive, but give your body a break. I think giving your body a break with not eating big meals, eating very small meals that your liver can do not so much work with every single meal, and try again that Monday through Friday thing, or 5 days a week where you're eating very clean, and just giving your body a break. I don't think we really think about our body that way. We just kind of take it for granted that it's going to do its job. But go easy on the liver. It's got a lot to do. 500 functions.
500 functions. All right. Well, that is a lot of work for one little organ.
Yes,
and you got to take care of it because you only have one of those.
Exactly. And you can't live without it.
How does this tie into the function of the kidneys then?
Well, the kidneys and the liver, the kidneys are also detoxifier, and we should talk about how to improve your kidney function at some point also. But just as important as the liver are the kidneys. All right.
VentanaWellness.com, that's the website, and that'll direct you to the clinic as well. And there's a lot of resources there. And if you need to have your hormones checked, she's the lady. Well, she's one of the people in her clinic. And all right, 46 ounces of warm water with a fully squeezed lemon in it. And if you want to mix in some ground flaxseed, you can put that in there, and away you go.
Just make sure and check your teeth before you go to work with those ground flax seeds. It's not super attractive. Get them out of your teeth.
So is that better than the oil?
Yes, the ground flaxseed has the fiber in it, so it's better than the oil. The oil is still good because it's the omega-3 fatty acids, but the ground up flaxseed's better because of the fiber.
All right, great. Thanks for coming in.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll
have a great day.
You too.
Hi, I'm Daniel and I work at theDove TV. You know, compared to Portland, Seattle, and LA, Medford might be considered a small market, But at the Dove, we're excited about the opportunity to make a big impact right here in our community. And you help make that happen. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us now by making a secure online donation at our website, theDove.us, or by phoning 541-776-5368.
Well, we're back, and wow, what a special guest we have to be with us today on Focus Today. Andrew Palau's with us, and he is the author of a book, The Secret Life of a Fool, One Man's Raw Journey from Shame to Grace. And I'm sure you've heard of him because we hear his voice a lot on some of the features that you hear on the Dove Radio. Andrew voices some of those in the afternoon during the Jerry Bilden Show. So, Andrew, what a delight to have you. How are you, my friend?
It's great to hear your voice again. Thank you, Senator Atkinson.
Well, that's my son. I'm the dad.
Yeah. Well, we love your family, and we just honor you. You're famous in our family, and we're grateful.
Well, thank you. Good to see you. And how's your dad?
He's great. I saw him this morning. We had the 4 boys and Dad get together about once a month for breakfast, so it was a good morning already.
Did he buy?
He bought, for sure.
Well, quite a story, Andrew, your story of your life here. How did this all start for you? Where did things kind of go in the wrong direction there for a while?
Well, Perry, that's a question I get so often. I share my testimony a lot verbally for many years, for the last 19 years, actually. And every time I share it, people come and they'll say, they just want to know, where did it go wrong, or where did it go right? And for me, I would say, I was born and raised in a great Christian home. My parents, Luis and Pat Palau, they're ministers, and they were very faithful to me and my 3 brothers, and really practiced what they preached. I had a great church, Cedar Mill Bible Church here in the west side of Portland, Oregon, and just from the youngest of ages, I just turned my back on the things of the Lord, and it's really no surprise. I mean, I think your worldview begins and ends whether, like, when you're born and as a child, is your heart pure or is it not pure, Mm-hmm. Do we have an innate part of us that's good that becomes bad, or is it bad and becomes good? And the Bible tells us, I think it's so clear, the heart is deceitful and desperately wicked. Above all things, who can understand it? And the Lord says, I understand it. But, I just had a rebellious heart, and I heard the good news, and I knew about the Lord, and I just loved my sin. And from the earliest days, I just made bad decision after bad decision, and over time it begins to build up and yield its harvest, right?
How old were you when this began to really maximize in your life?
Yeah. Well, I think there was a sort of a duplicitousness in my heart. I wasn't like a hyper, I didn't want to be a hypocrite. I wasn't like goody two-shoes at church and at home and then super wicked. I just kind of tried to ride the fence and but from the beginning, but the places where it began to reveal itself, I guess you could ask my parents, but to them would have been probably much later on, because I was pretty sneaky and willing to be deceitful and lie to them about things. I think it is probably amazing how long someone can go before it really becomes very clear this kid is in big trouble. But they're not idiots, and they're prayerful people, and they could see. But when I started sneaking out of the house, we would rip off our neighbors' liquor cabinets and steal beer from their garages, and we'd go out and run around the neighborhood. And I think it's sort of, I can imagine my kids are 15 and 14 and 5 now. As a 13, 14, 15-year-old, it's, you wake up one morning and realize, I am sure my child, snuck out of the house last night. And I just can't imagine how shocking that must have been. Wow. But they picked up on it. They began to find paraphernalia because I was smoking dope, and they could smell it on my breath. And I started smoking cigarettes and just all that foolish stuff. I built my foundation for life on it. And I tried to avoid upsetting them. I wasn't interested in agitating them. I wasn't angry at them. I really wanted them to be at peace. I didn't want any trouble, but I was determined to do my own thing.
So do you, looking back on it, you think your mom and dad handled it well?
I really do. I really honor them. I'm so grateful. I'll start crying. You know, I'm an emotional guy. I cry all the time, so you can get used to it. But I mean, when I think of it, it's just they were so generous to me and so loving. I'm sure their hearts were obviously broken, and they really were striving to put the time in and do the right things and have all the conversations and engage other people and get me in. You know, Dad would have, you know, read the word to us each day that he was home, and he traveled a lot, but so do many business leaders. You know, everyone likes to say, well, you know, it's like preacher's kid syndrome and all the rest. But I think it's more interesting when it's the preacher's kid, you know, so people want to see that.
Right.
But I think if you just kind of went down the line, my guess is that it would be very standard. You know, the Bible says all of us like sheep have gone astray, each one to their own way. And so for all of us, you know, you know, they were like 3 out of 4 is not too bad, right? The other 3 moved towards the Lord at a younger age and reconciled with him at a younger age and began to walk with him, and I just refused to do it. So
when did you get tired of the balancing act? I mean, you obviously knew you were walking in the wrong direction, and yet you were trying to justify, you know, the game you were playing, basically lying to yourself. When did you get tired of it?
Well, you know, I think, you know, you run into seasons where you're in the pit, and even if it's only inwardly, like outwardly, you know, it's easy to wear a mask and say everything's fine with Andrew. I did that all the way through 27 years, really. But periodically you'd hit rock bottom, and I made some physical sort of outward commitments in those dark days, maybe with an eye towards the Lord or spiritual things, but mostly just because I hated the hangovers. I hated the fears of my life, you know, the darkness of those days, and alcohol and drugs just drag you into those very dark places, but so do many other things. So in those places, you make a commitment like, oh, I'm going to quit taking these drugs, and you might do that for quite a long time. As a matter of fact, for years, I stopped doing certain kinds of drugs because it was horrifying and really like devilish, you know, the darkness of the places I got to, and I was afraid and I swore off them, but not enough to give up my overall sin and not enough to confess that I was in need of real deeper help. So I would have to say the time I really got sick of it, or the Lord mercifully revealed himself and his grace to me was 19 years ago in 1993 when I finally confessed the Lord and repented and received the good things of God.
Did you believe? Did you believe in God during that time?
Isn't that a funny thing? One of the reasons I think it took me 17 years of walking with the Lord to write this book, you know, of my testimony, is I just wanted to be mature and understand things from a biblical perspective better and better before I started spouting off about them. And I'm not sure I'm quite there yet. But here's what I would say about that is I knew all about God. I had heard the message 1,000 times, but I rejected it over and over and over in my just clearly and soundly. And I think sometimes that I did believe that was probably true, which is so hard to admit because how could you? It's an insanity, right? To say, oh yeah, that's probably true, but I just can't deal with it right now because I'm too deep into all these things. That's how your heart deceives itself. The lies of the enemy are involved, your selfishness. I think in the end, that root of just selfish, self-centeredness overwhelmed this idea that that's probably true. Isn't that strange?
Did your parents, or in particular your dad, by the way, I just want to say to our viewers and listeners, we're talking to Andrew Palau and his book called The Secret Life of a Fool. And let me encourage you to get a copy of it. It's put out by Worthy Publishing. And check it out at Evangel, Barnes & Noble, online, Amazon.com. Did your dad ever get frustrated trying to make sense of your life? I mean, did he ever sit down and say, all right, we're going to have a come to Jesus moment, and you guys never got there?
No, you know, he tried everything. It's amazing. I know when I was little enough and he could get his hands around me, he'd say, son, I got to talk to you. Let's go for a walk. And I'd be like, oh, no, you know, not the walk. I don't want to go for the walk, right? You know what's coming. And sure enough, he'd wake me up and we'd walk around the rainy streets out here in Beaverton, Oregon, where we lived. And he'd say, you know, son, we love you. You got lots of friends. You know how to have a good time and you're doing well at school. But as a father who loves you, I have to warn you that this direction that you're walking, it won't lead you to the life that you desire. And he'd share with me, you know, the beautiful passages, you know, that the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but God offers you life and life in abundance. And I know you're looking for that abundant life, Andrew. We all are, and it's not wrong to look for it, but this direction. And he would tell me about, you know, the work of Christ on the cross on my behalf to forgive me. And he talked to me about the Holy Spirit and the promise of heaven. And, you know how it is, especially with family. It's so heartbreaking. You have to really work yourself up, and the Spirit has to really move you to say, you need to do something. And he would do it, right? And your expectation is, you know, maybe this will be his time. And how many times his heart was broken. He would write me letters, and I think, no, I don't think I know. One of the main reasons that I wrote this book was because I wanted people to see these letters that my father had written me, the incredible heart of this father for his son. And, you know, as an evangelist, the same thing he would preach to 1,000 or 100,000 people, he would write it out in a letter personalized to his own son. And that's powerful to me, just that confidence that, you know, if anything good is going to happen in this boy's life, it's got to be God's work. Here's the things he did. He determined to pray. He and mom pray. And there's great power in prayer, and we could talk about that the whole show. But to pray, to live the life of integrity, because, of course, if he says, God offers you life and life in abundance, Andrew, then, of course, he's challenged personally to say, oh, no, now I got to live that out as an example, right? So he lived that life, not perfect, but, you know, changed and growing, even to this age of 70-something that he is, you know, just changing and unsatisfied to stay where his prayer, testimony, you know, living the life, and then the good news. He would share that good news with me, and he'd write it out there. You know, I've got it in the book, and you can see, I even took a picture so you can see his scratchy handwriting. It's beautiful, and he would sick people after me once I got tired of, you know, his approaches. I got a little more wary, and he never gave up, and so I'm grateful he just persisted to the end.
All right, let me take a break right here. Our special guest today is Andrew Palau with his book, The Secret Life of a Fool. I think you'll find this book to be incredibly inspiring. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Paula, and I work at theDove TV. Every day we get letters and emails from people who've been encouraged, blessed, and challenged by the programs on theDove TV. But we couldn't do it without you. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us continue to bring inspiration and hope to our community by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us, or call us at 541-776-5368.
Well, what an inspiring time we're having today with Andrew Palau in his book, The Secret Life of a Fool, and how one man's raw journey from shame to grace. And I'm sure it's a story that never gets old, and yet I have to tell you, I just know that your life and your story, Andrew, is ministering to thousands. Mm-hmm. And I've often said, whatever God saves you from or brings you through, he usually turns you around and makes you a minister too, and that is the case here today. Obviously, you were all over the road, and at what point did you say, all right, this is it? Because I've often said there's only two things that change you. I mean, you can go to seminars and you can listen to your own dad's preaching.
Yeah.
But until you're either inspired or you're desperate, either inspiration or desperation, one of those two is going to finally change the course for you.
Yeah, and for me, it was both. I mean, I was, it's true what you say. I wouldn't wish my life upon anyone, but somehow God in his mercy, he doesn't waste a thing. And so now to be able to, I'm ashamed to share all these things that I was involved with, but so many people are there. It gives the capacity to kind of relate to people and express the hopefulness of life in Christ. But to me, it was both. I not only sort of hit that proverbial rock bottom. It was not so much the outward, like now I'm going to prison and now, all my life is in a shatters outwardly, because in a sense it wasn't. I had this mask that I wore to say everything's fine with Andrew, but in my heart, inside, I really was in a pit. I was abusing alcohol to hide from the shame and guilt of my life. I could never go to bed sober because I didn't want to face all of my lying and cheating and stealing and the abusive relationships and the faces of the people who I'd heard would haunt me, and I was fearful about my path in life, and I was fearful about eternity, and all this is haunting me, but who would know it because I'm wearing this mask? And then, and that was the sort of desperation side, but the inspiration side came just through that long-term faithful, loving work of my parents to never give up on me, to pray and to live the life, to not strive for my life in their own flesh, in anxieties, but to just live life to the fullest as an example to me that this works. And that paid its dividends in time. And the other thing that my parents prayed for a lot was other people. Lord, bring other people to engage in this life so that Andrew will know we're not trying to manipulate him, but that the Spirit of God is calling him personally. And that's exactly what happened. They were involved even in that too, though, because they invited me, they called me. I was living in Boston. It was February, 2 feet of snow, freezing cold, and Dad called me and they invited me to a festival, one of his own, crusades. We call them festivals now, and he invited me out there, and I didn't really want to go, but it was in Kingston, Jamaica, so I was like, maybe I can work something out. I'm thinking about red stripe beer on the beach, get some sun, and I know how to handle this Christian thing, but God had other plans, and when I went out there, I ran into some young people that, as my parents had prayed, outside of their conniving or desire to introduce me to other people, I came into contact with this group of young people my age who had recently radically been transformed by the gospel, and it really impacted me. And that perfect Holy Spirit orchestration where I could say, wow, here am I in this desperate place. Here are these people that I can completely relate to. I respect them. We have a lot in common, yet something radical has happened in their life, and they're talking about it, and they're full of life and peace, and they're talking about the forgiveness of sins. They're talking about restoration of relationships, freedoms from addictions that they were enslaved by, and I just said, I want that, and it all combined for me to just say, God, what is keeping me from you? And I called that out with sincerity. I began to seek him in this little season of time with sincerity in my heart. God, reveal yourself. What's keeping me from you? And in his mercy, he allowed me to see what was keeping me from him. In a moment, for me, it was this radical moment where he revealed all of that garbage in my life in a moment, and I saw it there in the most horrifying way, and I was broken, and I began to weep and cry, and I was bawling and, saying, I'm so sorry, please forgive me. How could I have been so foolish? It's horrifying. Please take it. And, you can guess what he did, exactly as he promises. He says, if you confess your sin, I am faithful, I am able to forgive your sin and cleanse you from all unrighteousness. And he did it in a moment, and I stood up out of that moment and was radically changed. Not perfect, but growing. Now 20 years, it's so fresh, it feels like just the other day. But
were you healed of your addictions?
Grateful. The Lord radically transformed me in a moment of many of those addictions. And then, so that was a miracle. I can't explain it. I smoked 2 packs, let's say, minimally of cigarettes for 15 years, 2 packs a day. And he, from that day, without any conscious effort, he just took that from me. Other addictions and other patterns were just broken. Other things I've had to work more diligently on and have sort of crept up and become more of a constant watch that I need to have in daily devotion and in accountability and other things. But for me, that's how he did it, and I'm so very grateful.
Did you, in that process, did you just ever have a time with God where you just confessed? I mean, you just give the laundry list of nonsense and say, God, here they are,
That was it. For me, it was in that moment where I was confronted. I was having what the old timers used to call a dark night of the soul, where I really was anxiously, eagerly calling out to God to say, if you're real, I want to know. Reveal yourself to me. I was very passionate and very sincere in that call, and it was sort of a 3 or 4 day period while I was out there in Jamaica where I called out to the Lord. And the verse in Scripture that draws it forward is, he says, if you seek me, you will find me. This is a promise of God. I didn't know. I wasn't responding to that promise because I had forgotten all about it. But this is what happened. I was seeking him with all my heart, with a great sincerity. If you're real, I really do want to know. And I think, he saw my heart and the sincerity of it, and he had been calling me all the while. So the combination was beautiful, and I give him all the glory, all related to his grace, nothing to do with me. But when I turned and decided that I was sincerely interested, that's when he revealed himself to me. And when he revealed, it was in that moment, Perry, when he revealed my sin to me, that I confessed it, and I just poured out the confession. Wow. There was so much to confess. It was like a long season of confession where just almost, sin by sin, issue by issue, he brought it up before me into my mind and my spirit, and I saw it, and I said, oh, God, no, not that. I don't want to look at that. I'm so ashamed of myself, and will you forgive me? And he just took it, and then some other issue would come forward, and I'd say, oh, no, I thought we were done, no, not done. And I'd say, yes, I know, I'm sorry, will you forgive me? And he said, of course, and he took it, but then the next thing and the next thing, it was just this long sort of list, or it was like washing over me, and I was like, please forgive me. And that's where his promise became true. If you confess your sin, I'm faithful and able. And he changed me in that moment.
It seems to me that the message of your, I guess you could say conversion, but primarily your healing and the release of those sins is the core message that even in the United States young people need to hear.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's nothing new under the sun. Our culture changes. We've become postmodern. We've become X generation, all these things. But, it's all vanity. There's nothing new under the sun. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Only when we concede that and recognize that we're in need of a Savior and turn to him in repentance will we be able to engage in the relationship we were made for. And I just urge anybody out there that if you've never confessed Christ, if you've never turned your heart and said, God, if you're real, I want to know, just hold that promise for yourself. If you seek me, you will find me, says the Lord. And there are so many spiritual seekers. I urge you to do it. Call out on the name of Jesus and ask him to reveal himself. And it's a promise of God. It's not a good idea of mine. So I would recommend you go that direction.
What do you think the cry of the American church is today?
I feel like there's a great seed of revival that's just coming forward in the leadership of the church. A lot of young leaders, like I'm a young leader, I'm 47. So I'm not that young, I'm sort of middle-aged almost, I guess. But I believe that there are a lot of just honest, sincere young leaders who are humbly coming before the Lord, taking the Bible seriously, and trying to live that out together. I think there's an effort towards prayer and unity that I see in the church here in Portland for sure, and even nationally. And so I think it's a good day for the church. I think there's a humility and a crying out for the Lord. And so I think it's going to be a good day for a revival in our hearts and for a harvest.
Well, Andrew, you're a delight and an inspiration. The book is entitled The Secret Life of a Fool by Andrew Palau. There on the screen. And let me just say, you can get a copy. It's put out by Worthy Publishing. Check it out at Evangel, Christian Discount Books, or online at Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Thank you, my friend. Blessings to you and to your entire team up there, and look forward to having you down here someday.
Thanks, Perry. We love the Dove.
Okay, thank you, man. God bless. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Jim, and I work at theDove TV. Every weekday between 6 and 8 a.m., our award-winning news and sports team bring you the best morning show around. It's live, it's honest, and it's a whole lot of fun. And you help make it happen. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us continue to air local programs that share your voice by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us.